Hi everyone, and good day. And today is a rainy day in Singapore, and because of that, I decided to record a video about this particular property, which is fetching 4,900 ringgit rental per month today. Right, today in this pandemic period, during this poor economic period in Malaysia, right, this property is fetching 4,900 ringgit rental per month, and this is a residential property. It's a condo. Say, right, it's a shop house. No, this is a condo. And say, can a condo fetch this kind of rental today in Iskandar? And I say, yeah, can. And I tell you why. I'll show you what property is this, right? And let me go ahead and explain to you what it is. Okay, so first let's introduce myself.
Director of Outbound Marketing,
Still in Iskandar Malaysia. So my name is Ryan. What's that, Ryan?
6,000 incoming supply in Johor. This is
I'm writing a thank you for attending today's presentation on Iskandar Malaysia. Okay, so my name is Ryan Khoo and I'm a Malaysian, and as per the video, I'm a property investor. I am a property agent. I have done lots of transactions in Malaysia and Singapore. I am most well known for writing 2 books on Iskandar Malaysia. I have been asked to speak about real estate investment by Property Guru, by The Edge Singapore. I used to write articles for The Edge Singapore, and I promote Iskandar Malaysia quite heavily. But I do Singapore transactions as well. Malaysia in general, we're quite familiar with most major property markets around the world. I've done a lot of property transactions over the years. And I'm today also with ERA Singapore as well as ERA Malaysia, the Johor branch. So I'm a registered salesperson in both countries. And yeah, so yeah, these are the 2 books that I wrote on Iskandar Malaysia. And I know Iskandar Malaysia gets a lot of flack, but I mean, I'm still a big believer. Of course, lots of things went wrong in the Iskandar Malaysia story because of the bad timing in property cycle. Of course, and right now there's a bad pandemic and a bad political situation. But I mean, you have to be contrarian sometimes in property investment. And yeah, but anyway, I talk about that in my other videos a lot. But today I'm going to talk about property, which is fetching 4,900 ringgit per month rental. And Iskandar, I say, sure, Ryan. I mean, is there such a thing? I mean, I heard a lot of people cannot get rental. I heard a lot of people cannot get only getting very low rental. So what's the catch? There must be a catch, right? And this is not a shop house. This is not commercial property or industrial property. This is a residential property, right? And it is a condo, right, in Iskandar. So how does this condo fetch 4,900 ringgit per month, right? And I'll go through the details of it later. But basically, it is a student accommodation, right? So it is a property right now that is leased to a university. The tenancy is signed with a university, right? And they currently lease it to students. So as you may have heard, I mean, normally student accommodation fetch higher than average rental. This is because normally the requirements by universities or students are quite specific, right? I play a video to show you how this actual property looks like. This is a 4-bedroom, 1,335 square feet, right? Freehold property, freehold condo in Johor. It was not built as a student accommodation. That means this condo was built initially as a normal residential condo, but over the years, because of its location very near to EDUCITY, right, it has become a popular choice for students, and lots of students choose this property as their home today. And so much so that even the universities have made it their first choice in terms of arranging student accommodation for their students. But let me show you how the property interior looks like. So that video just now is basically a bedroom of a a video of a 4-bedroom unit where they use as student accommodation in this condo. And it comes, this property is sold furnished, right? And with tenancy. So furnishing as per what you saw in the video earlier. So if you buy it, everything what you see is what you get, right? And of course, if it comes to tenancy, then there are already students staying in. So you can see roughly from the layout just now, they have 2 twin sharing and 2 single rooms. So you're talking about 6 students staying in one apartment, a 4-bedroom apartment, right? So, and the reason why there are so many students in this area is because it is just next door to this place called EDUCITY. Now, EDUCITY is a initiative by the Iskandar authorities to have a what they call university hub, right? And what you see here, there are a number of universities in this list, right? The ones that are the ones which are there today are the University of Southampton, Southampton from the UK, NMIT, the Netherlands Maritime Institute of Technology, Multimedia University is also there, Newcastle University of Medicine, MDIS Singapore. All right, there's also another one here which is not on this list, which is Raffles. No, sorry, not Raffles. University of Reading, right? University of Reading, right? So if you the main these are actual photos, right? So Southampton is a all these are actually UK universities, but basically they focus on one faculty per university. So it's not like if you see Southampton, you're not going to see the entire university replicated here. It's just the medical faculty. Sorry, so just the engineering faculty for Southampton. For Newcastle, it's just the medical faculty, and for Reading, it's just the business faculty. So these are the big 3 from the UK, right? And today they maybe I think about 4,000 to 5,000 students in total from all the universities here combined in EDUCITY. There is a stadium built already with a swimming pool and a sports stadium, football stadium here, right? Of course, NDIS from Singapore also has a campus here, large campus. They announced this back in 2013. It's already completed today, and there is a number of students here as well. We don't have actual figure because they opened enrollment just before COVID hit, so I'm not sure whether whether how operational are there today. But MDIS is here in Singapore. Raffles Education also has a plot of land over here, which they have not developed anything. And the other actually famous schools that you may have heard of are actually the international schools, but these are for kids under 17, right? These are not university age. These are Marlborough College, Raffles American School, and Sunway International School, right? Of course, these are up to 17, right? The earlier ones I showed you, these are for university level kids, right? And we all know that that this education is big business in Malaysia. Especially in Iskandar, many people move or stay in Iskandar today because of education-related purposes. This includes Koreans, Japanese, Singaporeans. There are many nationalities, people who live here, and that of course attracts other forms of employment such as teachers, faculty staff, and all these, right? So education is definitely one of the most successful industries in Iskandar, and definitely the kind of education quality that you get here for the money that you pay is of course a lot value for money compared to say Singapore or China or Hong Kong. So we see many people from many more expensive countries come to Malaysia, come to Iskandar to further their education. This is a quite common thing, and the reason why all these schools are here and fairly successful is because they're able to provide good value at a good cost, right? So I'm going to show you something about from Newcastle, right? This is their accommodation, student accommodation booklet or brochure, right? And you can see here they list, right, the types of accommodation available. So you have they mentioned the rooms, what is provided in the bedrooms, what are provided in the living rooms, the extras. So you can see things like aircon and fan and shoe racks, right? And they are all actually linked to the same condo, which I'll talk about that later, right? And you can see that they mentioned how much does the university cover in terms of electricity, gas, and water bills, right? And this is the prices that they charge. Of course, this is for the entire semester period, which I believe is 9 months, right? Because normally universities have a 3-month holiday period per year, the summer holiday period, right? So the semesters are 9 months long. So this is how much Newcastle charges, I believe, for each student for a 9-month periods. Yeah, 50 weeks and 39 weeks. Yeah, right. You can see that at the bottom. So it depends on whether they're staying in a 4-bedroom or a 3-bedroom, because the condo does come in a 4-bedroom or 3-bedroom choice, right? I'll talk about that later a little bit. So this is from Newcastle, right? University of Southampton has a similar student accommodation booklet, and you can notice that Southampton also uses the same condo. So it's interesting to see that 2 universities, in fact, all 3 universities are Reading as well, but I don't have the Reading booklet here. I only have the Southampton and the Newcastle one. So you can see that actually both these universities are pointing to the same condo actually. So they have actually made some arrangement actually to use this condo for their student accommodation, right? And you can see here how much they charge as well. I think this is per month, right? For single room, twin sharing. They also have a 4 sharing, which I'm not sure how they get 4 sharing here, right? So Southampton as well, in this condo as well. It lists all the items provided by the condo here, right? So the reason why this condo has become popular is because the developer EcoWorld has actually made the arrangement, right? So this was signed back in 2020, right? And you can see that in this case, the developer EcoWorld has made arrangements with the University of Southampton to provide student accommodation for the students from the university. So actually the tenancies that you are getting are signed with the university. I repeat, the tenancies that you're getting are signed with the university. You're not signing the students, you're signing the university. So this university signed with you, right? The contract is with the University of Southampton or the Reading or Newcastle, right? And the developers made this arrangement. So okay, Ryan, so I'm clear. So I'm buying a condo, which is rented to university for student accommodation. So how does it work in terms of actual numbers, right? So you have 2 choices. You can either buy the 3-bedder or the 4-bedder. So the 3-bedder comes furnished, or you can buy empty. I think there's a slight difference in prices. You can buy tenanted or empty, because they do have units which are still pending students to come in, right? So you can already buy one that's already tenanted, or you can buy one that's already empty with or without furnishing, right? So all these options are there, with or without furnishing, with or without tenant, right? But the tenanted ones, which we have quite a number of choices, I think, for tenanted units, because I mean there are quite a lot of students in the universities. The tenanted ones are for the 3-bedder is paying 3,720 ringgit per month, right? And this works out to about 5% gross yield per annum, right? So that's not bad, yeah. 5% gross yield per annum with a university. I think that's a good deal. I mean, in today's environment, I mean, 5% and your mortgage in Malaysia is roughly about 3% today. So you have a 2% differential, right, on that. If you can buy cash, of course, you get the full 5%. This is a freehold property, yeah. So unlike Singapore industrial property or some other properties that are high yield in Singapore that typically have low lease, these ones are freehold, right? And you have a tenancy, as I mentioned earlier, signed with the university. The furnishing is of course designed for student accommodation, right? As per the video you saw earlier. I have a similar video for the 3-bedroom, but I'm not going to show it here because to me it's about the same thing, just that it's for a 3-bedroom, right? So twin sharing, single sharing options, right? So this is for the 3-bedder, 980 square feet, 5% yield. If you buy the 4-bedder, and the 4-bedder is the one that we showed in the video earlier, which is 1335 square feet, right? And if you remember the video, there's 2 single rooms. These two single rooms, right? And then these 2 rooms are the bigger ones, become the twin sharing rooms, right? So you've got 6 students, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 students, right? Again, you can buy fully furnished or empty, tenanted or without tenant, right? All option combinations are available. This one you get 4,900 ringgit per month, and which is actually a 5.8% gross yield, which is a great yield. I mean, 5.8% gross yield today, I think is a great yield. You probably won't get that in Singapore today unless you're buying for residential property. You won't get it in Singapore today. Singapore residential, what is 3%-ish? If you buy today, maybe 2+. I mean, if you bought long time ago, you probably get higher, but I mean today, if you buy Singapore, it's about 2 to 3%, right? Malaysia in general is about 4% plus nowadays, so you can get 5 and above for a condo in Malaysia. I think that's a very good number. 5.8% gross yield, and tenancy signed university, freehold property, right? If you buy, of course, the best option, if you ask me, is to buy fully furnished already with tenant, right? That's the best option, right? You buy with an incoming tenant paying you 5.8% per annum, that's the best, right? So you don't have to worry about property for some time, right? There's a tenant there and likely to renew every year when of course the university is still there. right? So students still have to study even if they're online or not, online or physical classes, right? So yeah, right. That's a great deal, I think, in my opinion. And you don't worry so much about renewals because I mean, the students are likely to stay back in the same house while they're still studying in the university, right? So so what do you think about student accommodation? I think student accommodation is not a new thing. It has been around for years. It's not a new story. I think the question that always has been how actually the mechanism of the student accommodation. I think this is as transparent as it gets. In some cases, the developer offer you a guaranteed rental return, which I think is a bit fishy or tricky because you don't know what is the actual rental received behind by the developer, and you don't know what costs in between, and you don't know whether it's sustainable or not, right? Sometimes for guaranteed rental return schemes, especially if they're signed for very, very long periods, like 5 years or 10 years, right? So in this case, there is no GRR, no guaranteed rental return. You are buying directly from the developer selling you with tenancy, right? Developer selling to you with tenancy. But of course, there's a risk that the tenancy may not be renewed. But I mean, to me, student accommodation tenancies normally get renewed because the students, they're always students, unless the university go bust, right? Which is very unlikely because universities are always there for long periods of time. And these universities have been here since 2012. So far, even the COVID period, they're still operating. So, and I think, and the good thing about student accommodations, like I said, the yields are higher than average, right? So lots of people, funds, of course, put money into student accommodation. Singapore companies as well, right? I think SPH, Centurion, Far East, right? All these developers who have put money into student accommodation, usually in the UK, sometimes in Australia, right? A lot of apartments people buy in Melbourne also end up in the Melbourne CBD also end up get rented to students because that's where the demand is, right? And you get a good yield, right? So student accommodation is a way to get good yield, right? But I think one thing good about this kind of apartments in Johor is that they are not purely for student accommodation, right? In this condo is actually in the Botanic commercial area. I don't know whether you are familiar with this. This was a project, 600 over shop house completed in 2017, right? And this condo sits surrounded by all these shop houses, right? And the Botanic commercial area has actually matured into a very very busy, hustling, bustling commercial area, right? I think occupancy is easily over 80%, maybe higher, right? And they have done very well in terms of the tenants, right? And this is probably the most successful commercial area in Johor Bahru. Feel free to ask any Malaysian friends, friends who live in Johor Bahru, if you doubt what I'm saying here, right? But there have been a lot of good quality tenants, a lot of new tenants, experimental tenants, local tenants, Korean tenants. We have seen many Korean businesses open up here as well, hair salons, barbecues, and Korean chicken, right? Also open this area, and this condo sits just smack in the middle of all these shop houses, right? So I mean, the good thing. So I think that's also one reason, other than the fact that it's next to EDUCITY, is that the students get a lot of choice of food and conveniences, right? So it's a nice place to stay, right? Students will not say no, right? So there's a lot of tenants in this area. I just list the F&B ones because of course there are more lah. I mean, I didn't list the non-F&B ones, or those, at least those which I think are easy to recognize what they are, right? There's a very famous Soon Hot Bak Kut Teh is also here, but they don't have a good logo I can use on this presentation. Family Mart, Starbucks, Coffee Bean, Mama restaurants, which I think at least still also nobody recognize the brand of the Mama restaurants. But lots of food, right? Definitely, I think if you choose to eat one shop every day, you can eat. You probably take you almost many months before you have to go back to the original shop that you first had if you take your turn one by one, right? So Botanic is a very well successful commercial area. And so I think that if you buy a property like this, it's not just limited to student accommodation. And in the years to come, if you do choose to make this property a weekend house or a second home, right, or holiday home, I think definitely is a doable thing. Of course, you probably need to modify the interior design a little bit, but I think that gives you options, right? You don't have to wait. I mean, you're not fixed to student accommodation alone, because student accommodation properties tend to be, especially those which are bought by the funds, they tend to be very fixed just for student accommodation. But these actually is a condo which can serve other normal users as well. So what are the pros and cons of investments, right? Let me go through what I think. The pros, number one, I think the yield is good, right? And it's signed with the university. So you have a good quality tenant in place and above average yield, 5 to 5.8% annum. Already finished, you don't have to come out extra cost. One thing that a lot of investors forget when they buy property is the cost to furnish for rental, right? If you buy a landed house, you still need to invest a lot of renovation costs before you can rent it out. Same thing, similar in condos, although condos don't cost as much. But this condo is already furnished, so you don't have to come out extra money for that furnishing, right? Saves some cost there, reduces your initial capital. Number three is freehold, and I mentioned not just freehold. It can also be used as other purposes other than student accommodation, right? So in the future, it can be a weekend home, retirement home, right? Depends on what you want to do the property in the long term, right? So it's not just limited to student accommodation, right? Four is in a great commercial area that has already matured with many tenants, right? It's not a new area where you see a lot of empty shops or you don't see people, right? This is a fairly new but has matured part of JB, right? And of course, if you are Singaporean and you have not bought properties overseas before, one thing good is you can leverage for financing outside of Singapore banks, right? So you can borrow in a Malaysian bank around 3% per annum, and you can get 70-90% financing, which I think is attractive. You don't have to come out a lot of money in Singapore dollar terms, right? And you leverage the power of leverage, right, through a Malaysian bank, and let the property appreciate, because this is a freehold property, right? And you can let it appreciate over time, even if Malaysian properties tend to appreciate slower than Singapore, right? At least you can give it time, because this is a freehold property in a good location, and especially when the RTS, the MRT to Singapore completes around 2026, I think definitely there'll be a lot more interest in Malaysian property then, because that is the next Kickstarter, which is currently under construction. I think you probably see it in the Singapore news as well as Malaysian news. The RTS is under construction right now and has started. Contracts have been awarded, right? And they will complete in 2026. I'll probably do a video on that sometime soon when I go to Woodlands, right? And I want to remind people that as of today, in August 2021, Singapore prices are at a peak. I mean, I talked to a lot of people. I mean, there's the good and bad. I mean, if you're an existing property owner, you're happy because property prices have increased. If you're an investor and you have not bought, you probably feel mixed feelings, right? Whether you can buy or not in Singapore, because Singapore prices are pretty high right now, right? And yeah, it can be good or bad depending on your position. So I think that makes investments in other countries overseas also attractive, because they are attractive by comparison, compared to Singapore sometimes. So you have to look at the pros and cons, and I think it's important to consider that Malaysia is just next to Singapore and next to JB, right? And you're buying like all the pros I mentioned earlier, right? And this is a something to consider for investment like this. So if you do like this video, you're interested to find out about this investment, do drop me a message, right, at my email or my phone number here, my Malaysian number or my Singapore number. You can also leave a comment on my YouTube video here. Please like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and feel free to talk to me if you have any further questions. Thank you very much. It is true, yeah, 4,900 ringgit per month. I'm not bullshitting you, right? This is a real property. And do let me know if you're keen to find out more. Thank you very much.